Hi, and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today is the 12th of November, and we're on page 39 of the magazine. And today we're talking about fun facts about flamingos.
今天我们这篇文章的中文标题是我最火红，美丽的火烈鸟啊，火烈鸟就是 flamingo。那英文标题里面 fun facts 就是一些有趣的事实，关于这个 flamingos 的一些有趣的事实。
They missed an opportunity on the title, though. They could have simply called it Fun Flamingo Facts.
What's the difference?
It's just all alliterated with all F's with no about in between. It's not as good. Fun facts about flamingos is a much smoother read, but Fun Flamingo Facts really goes hard on the alliteration. That's all.
Yeah, 所以刚刚这个 Angela 老师讲哈，这个如果它是标题把它取成Fun Flamingo Facts， 那连续3个 F 啊，那就很好玩了。那但是事实上，现在英文这个标题这个样子，它是读起来是比较顺的哈。Fun facts about flamingos， 这个感觉是读起来是比较顺的。
Yeah, you can even hear it in how much I'm struggling to say fun flamingo facts. It's actually harder to say.
Yeah,
but fun.
你三个放在一起的话，那个好多 F 其实不是那么好念。Yeah, 只是好玩而已啦。Yeah.
Okay. So today we're learning all about flamingos. From their iconic bright pink feathers to their strange one-legged posture, flamingos are remarkable birds that are immediately recognizable at a distance. From zoo exhibits to plastic lawn decorations, this colorful waterfowl is one of the world's most beloved animals. Believe it or not, however, flamingos aren't born pink. Their distinctive color comes from their diet, which includes algae and invertebrates high in red pigment. The bird's strangely shaped beaks are the perfect tool for filter feeding. They like to kick up mud and silt from the bottoms of waterways and use their beaks to quickly and efficiently consume their desired foods from the beds of the rivers and lakes where they spend most of their time. What about the flamingo's odd standing posture? Since all flamingos spend their rest periods balancing on one leg, it must serve some purpose. However, researchers have not yet settled on the exact reason why flamingos so frequently just stand on one leg. The same behavior is common in many other water birds like ducks, geese, and swans as well. We just notice flamingos standing on one leg more because their legs are so long. One popular theory is the muscle fatigue explanation. According to some researchers, flamingos conserve energy while standing on one leg because they can lock the joints and disengage their actual muscles. This is an important feature, especially in environments where sitting in shallow water is the only alternative. Another possible explanation for flamingos standing on one leg is heat regulation. Even though these gorgeous birds mostly live in tropical regions, standing in water all day can still lead to significant heat loss. By reducing the number of feet in the water, flamingos may be able to maintain a healthy body temperature. Okay, so flamingos are very
cool
birds, and everybody seems to love flamingos. But from their iconic bright pink feathers to their strange one-legged posture, flamingos are remarkable birds that are immediately recognizable at a distance. They're actually recognizable at any distance, but even at a distance, you're like, yep, flamingo. Because they're pink and because their legs are so long and that they stand on one leg, it's very difficult to not recognize a flamingo.
好，所以 from 后面一定有一个 to 哈，从 A 到 B 啊，就讲一个范围。好，那这里说从他们的 iconic 就是指标性的、有代表性的 ，bright 在这里是指颜色很鲜艳的 ，strong in color。然后 pink feathers 粉红色的羽毛，所以他们有这个很代表性的、很有指标性的、很鲜艳明亮的粉红色的羽毛啊。从这个到什么呢？到他们的 strange 很怪异的、很奇怪的。One-legged 就是单脚的 posture 指的是姿势啊，那在这里指的是它站姿。好，所以这个火烈鸟呢，它有有非常鲜艳的粉红色的羽毛，还有它很 特别的站姿，一脚单脚的站姿。所以呢 Flamingos 就是这个火烈鸟 are remarkable 就是很奇异的很引人注目的一种鸟类。好，那而且他们怎么样 that are 这种引人注目的这种鸟类是 immediately recognizable 就是可以认出的， immediately 就是立刻可以认出的，你一看马上就可以认出来啊，那是 Flamingos。 那 at a distance 就是在远的地方，你在一个很远的距离之外，你很容易就可以认出来那个是火烈鸟。
From zoo exhibits to plastic lawn decorations, this colorful waterfowl is not a waterfall. This colorful waterfowl is one of the world's most beloved animals. It's really true because everyone thinks that they're beautiful. And so we love to see them at zoos and zoo exhibits. And we also, in the United States anyways, love to put them on our lawn. There's this like iconic lawn decoration made out of plastic that's been around for, 40, 50 years of two flamingos standing on your lawn.
Yeah. 好，所以接下来又是同样一个 from to 这种结构。好，那从怎么样 zoo exhibits 就是动物园的展示，但这里本来 exhibits 本来指展示品，但在这里指的这个，当我们讲 zoo exhibits 通常我们指的是动物园里面所展示的动物。所以呢 zoo exhibits 就是指真的火烈鸟在动物园里面给你看。那到什么呢？到 plastic 就是塑胶的， lawn decorations 就是草坪的这个装饰品。那各位其实你去 Google 一下马上就会看到当然很多人外国人的或者在国外他们的草坪上面呢就会放那个塑胶的火烈鸟在那边好像展示一下因为它的颜色很漂亮。好，所以它可以在动物园里面看到，也可以在人们的草坪上面看到，塑胶的动物园里面看到是真的。那这一个 colorful 色彩缤纷的 Waterfowl 就是水禽是世界上 most beloved animals。好 beloved 这个字要注意，它当形容词的时候那个 ed 最后那个 ed 有一个音节要念的 beloved， 那个是形容词的用法。例如说our beloved teacher 这个是 beloved 是就是那个 teacher， 所以这时候它要念成 beloved。 但是如果是 beloved 这个字的过去分词，那就是念 beloved所以发音上有差别。那总之这里讲的是火烈鸟是世界上最受欢迎最受喜爱的动物之一。
Believe it or not, however, flamingos aren't born pink. Believe it or not is a very common collocation in English. And is literally, it doesn't mean anything. It's just like, hey, I'm going to tell you something interesting. That's what it's there to signify.
那所以这 believe it or not 中文就讲信不信由你但是其实在英文里面它没有那么强的意思它其实就是我要告诉你一些有趣的事情言下之意信不信由你，那总之很有趣就对了。所以他告诉你说这个火烈鸟呢它们不是天生就是粉红色的。有的人可能会觉得说真的吗？那看起来就是这样子那他这里告诉你，所以他会说你信不信由你，它本来不是粉红色的。
The truth is, the first time I learned this, I was like, what, really? They're not just naturally pink? No, they're naturally white. It's weird. Their distinctive color comes from their diet. So can imagine that if actually this does work with humans. There was a guy who ate just so many carrots. He ate too many carrots. The dude turned orange. Like, your diet can affect your skin color, but with flamingos, it's a little more dramatic. So what happens is their diet includes algae and invertebrates, basically shrimp, that are high in red pigment. So they eat a lot of algae that are pink or red, and they eat a lot of shrimp that are red, and that naturally goes into their bodies and turns them pink. That still doesn't make sense. But okay.
Yeah, 所以这个很好玩，他们吃多了这个红的东西就变成粉红色了那这个句子他说 they're distinctive 就是独特的 distinctive characteristic the color 他们很独特的颜色 comes from 来自于他们的 diet 来自于他们的饮食which 就是指那个 diet 他们的饮食 includes 包含了什么呢 algae 就是藻类，这个是复数这个如果是单数的话就是 alga ALGA 不过这个字很少见因为藻类很少是看到一个藻类
Yeah, when are you ever going to talk about one alga?
Yeah 然后呢还有怎么样 invertebrates 就是无脊椎的动物那他们吃这些东西，那这些东西怎么样，它都是 high in 就是在某个东西成分很高的意思。那他们的 什么东西成分很高呢？它们的红色的 pigment 就是色素，红色色素成分很高。好，这个 high in 什么什么，它通常只是成分。所谓成分就是你不见得看得出来，哈，这样你不见得看得出来它红色色素成分很高，它只是含有很多红色的色素。
Another thing is that their strangely shaped beaks are the perfect tool for filter feeding, and that is how they eat their algae and their invertebrates.
好，那同时呢，另外一个很特别的是，它们的 strangely shaped， 它们的形状很怪异的 beaks 就是鸟喙。那这些鸟喙什么样？是 the perfect tool for filter feeding。好 ，filter feeding 是一种这个摄食的一种方法啊，叫滤食哈，过滤食物滤食啊。它的就是其实基本上就是过滤水中的浮游生物或者有机物来摄食的一种方法啊，所以它的鸟喙呢特别适合 filter feeding 这种摄食的方法。
So what happens is they like to kick up mud and silt from the bottoms of waterways. As they walk along, they like to stir up the bottom of the surface they're standing on. And then they use their beaks to quickly and efficiently consume their desired foods. So they use their beaks to filter their foods out of this mud. And these foods come from the beds of the rivers and lakes where they spend most of their time. The bed of something, the bed of a river or the bed of a lake, you can say riverbed or lake bed, that is the dirt that is on the bottom of the river or lake. It's the surface underneath the water. It's whatever's holding up the water. It's called a lake bed. And we used to have a joke about that's where the fish go to sleep. I remember my dad saying that when I was little. Where do fish sleep? In the lake beds. And you're like, ha, ha, ha. No, that's not how it works. Anyways, so basically, flamingos are filter feeders, and they use their weird beaks to filter up these algae and invertebrates, and these guys turn them pink.
啊，所以呢，我们看看啊，这个地方讲到说 ，they like to 啊，他们很喜欢 kick up， 就是挑起啊，这个 mud 泥土，还有 silt 是淤泥哈，或者是泥沙，尤其是指河湾或者河口那个地方的那种淤泥，他们很喜欢把它挑起来。好，那从哪里挑呢？他这里讲说 ，from the bottoms of waterways， 从这个水道或者水路的底部啊，把那个泥土泥沙挑起来啊，把它 pick up， 把它挑起来啊。那 waterways 通常是指可以航行的水道或者水路啊。然后呢，他们会用他们的这个鸟喙呢，会 quickly 很快的，而且 efficiently 很有效率的 consume 就是吃下的意思哈。To eat or drink 的意思哈，他们很快吃下他们的 desired foods， 他们喜欢的食物啊。那从哪里吃这些食物呢？食物从哪里找出来呢？ From the beds of the rivers and lakes 哈 ，bed 在这里呢，就是指我们讲河床啊，或者是湖床。那刚刚 Angela 讲说，他们小时候常常讲说，开玩笑说这个 riverbed 啊，就是鱼晚上睡觉的床啊。那这个很好玩，就大家听一听就笑笑就好了哈。那还有像各位常常看到的广告里面这个好像这个笑话说where do fish put their money?
Oh, yeah, in the riverbanks.
Yeah.
Where do fish sleep? In the riverbeds.
Yeah, 好，所以 riverbank 那个 bank 可以指那个岸，好，那个河岸啊，当然也可以指银行，所以这是另外一个笑话啊。所以这里讲到说，这个他们就从湖跟河的底啊，其实这个 beds 在这里就是 bottoms 的意思啊，找到他们的食物。那 where 就只在这个 rivers and lakes 这些地方呢 ，they spend most of their time， 他们大多数的时间都待在这里。
So what about the flamingo's odd standing posture? Why do they stand in such a weird way? I mean, it's got to be uncomfortable to stand on one leg all day, right?
Yeah. 好，所以这个 odd 就是怪异的。好，它所谓的怪异就是什么呀？跟一般不一样，或者跟你预期的不同。好，而且有一点怪怪的。好，所以他们这种很怪异的这种 standing posture， 这种站立的姿势啊。那 what about 那这个又怎么说呢？所以接下来换句话说，他告诉你他们这种火烈鸟那个怪异的站姿是怎么回事？
Since all flamingos spend their rest periods balancing on one leg, it must serve some purpose. So when they're walking, of course, they're of course on two legs. But when they're resting, they spend it balancing on one leg. They spend their time, they spend their rest periods balancing on one leg. So it must serve some purpose. It must have some meaning or have some reason for it. There must be something that it serves them.
好，所以 since 是由于或者既然。那既然这个所有的火烈鸟大部分都 spend their rest periods， 他们所休息时间，他们怎么度过呢？都是 balancing on one leg， 就他们在休息的时候，他们都是用一只脚来平衡，就在一只脚上面做平衡，所以就指他们的单脚的站姿。那因为是这样子，所以呢，这个单脚的站姿 it must serve some purpose， 一定有某一些目的serve some purpose， serve a purpose 就是有这样的目的。
However, researchers have not yet settled on, they have not yet decided on or figured out, or not that they haven't figured it out, they haven't agreed on, thank you, the exact reason, the precise reason why flamingos so frequently just stand on one leg. So there's a lot of theories about it, but they haven't all agreed or decided what is the reason.
好，所以呢，它一定有一些目的但是呢，研究人员researchers have not yet 尚未还没有 settled on， to settle on 就是 to agree about 或者 decide on something 就是他们还没有大家还没有同意，没有一个共识说the exact reason 到底是什么才是真正的正确的原因 why flamingos so frequently just stand on one leg， 所以大家还没有完全达到共识说为什么他们用一只脚站立所以很多人在研究也有不同的理论，但是还没有达到共识。
The same behavior is common in many other water birds. So a lot of other birds that spend their time in water also do this exact same thing. They stand on one leg. And these birds are birds like ducks, geese, and swans. So all of these birds stand on one leg, but we don't really agree on why they do it.
好，他说同样的行为 the same behavior is common 很常见，在哪方面，在哪些地方很常见呢？ In many other water birds water birds 就是 Waterfowl 在其他的很多水禽上面都很常看到这样的行为，同样的行为。那什么样的其他的水禽呢？例如说这个 ducks 鸭子 geese 鹅还有 swans 天鹅 as well 就是表示 to 的意思，也的意思。
So, but we notice this more in flamingos. We just notice flamingos standing on one leg more because their legs are so long. It's just way more obvious when a flamingo stands on one leg.
那我们只是注意到火烈鸟用一只脚站立more 就是我们比较容易，我们更常去注意到这一点。为什么呢？因为他们的脚非常的长 because their legs are so long.
So one popular theory, one major theory that scientists have is the muscle fatigue explanation. Fatigue is tiredness. So the explanation has to do with their legs getting tired.
Fatigue 就是疲劳所以有一个大家很常见的 popular 可以说是常见的，或者大家还蛮喜欢的一种理论呢，是肌肉疲劳这样的一个解释。
So according to some researchers, flamingos conserve energy, they save energy, they reduce their energy usage while standing on one leg because then they can lock the joints, they can lock their knee joints and disengage their actual muscles. To disengage something means to take it out of active service. It's still there, but it's not running. If you've ever seen like a motor or if you've ever driven a stick shift car, you can engage the engine, you put the gears into place and they start moving. And if you disengage the gears, you take the gears apart. So even though one is still spinning, it won't spin the other ones. So they disengage their muscles. They don't actually use their muscles. They just let their joints hold them up, which makes sense, but also doesn't explain why they only stand on one leg, because you can do that with two legs as well.
Yeah. 好，所以呢，这个地方我们先看这个句子。他说呢，根据某一些 researchers 的说法呢，这个 flamingos 他们会 conserve energy， 他们会节省能量。conserve 在这里就是节省的意思to use sparingly 或者避免浪费他们会节约能量。while 当他们 standing on one leg， 他们用一只脚站立的时候，他们可以节省他们的能量。为什么呢？因为这样他们就可以 lock the joints， 他们可以把他们关节锁住然后呢 disengage their actual muscles. Disengage 刚刚 Angela 他是举那个例子就各位如果像这个开车的话，以前那种手拍车，其实这个 自排可能也差不多原理，但像手排的话很清楚，你换挡的时候就是你用一档换到二档的时候，你就 disengage 那个一档的那个齿轮啊，就两个齿轮就脱离了。所以尽管你的发动机的齿轮还在转，可是它不会带动到你这个轮子的那个齿轮啊，所以这就是 disengage。所以简单的说，所谓 disengage 就是脱离松开，这样你就不用用到了。所以这里讲到说他们 disengage their actual muscles， 就指他们真正的肌肉啊，就他们可以把它松开来，就不用用到他们的肌肉，就可以省一点能量了。好，那刚刚 Angela 说，那为什么他站两只脚可能也可以这个做到同样的可以 lock the joints 啊？那也许我在想，也许一只脚因为它的角度或者重心的关系啊，它可能比较好锁吧 ，I don't know 。
Maybe. I mean, it's an important feature that they can do this, especially in environments where sitting in shallow water is the only alternative. So if basically they can't sit down because it's wet and the wet will take their body heat away, so they need to stand. But standing all the time is tiring, so you need to be able to lock your joints and not use your muscles. So all of that makes sense, but it doesn't explain the one leg. It only explains that, I mean, I think that's part of the explanation of why they can stand all day, but it doesn't explain why they only use one leg.
Yeah. 所以还是要知道它怎么样关节怎么锁的吧，可能啊。We need to know how they lock the joints. Maybe they can lock their joints only when they're standing on one leg.
Maybe. But, you know, have you ever locked your knees? You just bend your knees backwards so that you can just, you lock your knees by, like, flexing it backwards, and then you don't have to use your muscles as much. Like, people do this, too. Not everybody can. People like me who've got, like, hyperextensive joints, it's much more obvious that we can do this. But everyone can do this.
Well, hard for me to imagine. Anyway, 所以他说这个像 Angela 老师说，他也可以 lock 他的 knees 啊。那我是从来没有这种经验哈。所以呢，我们看这个他讲到说这是一个很重要的 feature 特色哈，尤其是在一些环境，这个环境里面呢 ，sitting in shallow water，shallow 是浅的，你就坐在浅水里面呢，是唯一的替代方案 alternative。也就是说，这些火烈鸟，它们在这个浅水地区呢，如果它们不站着的话，它们就只有坐着啊。所以如果你不站的话 ，the only alternative 就是坐在水里面，那这样它的体温会很快的散掉。所以显然那个办法不行，所以他们只能站着。那站着的话，他们觉得有一只脚，他们发展出来，一只脚他们可以比较节省他们的能量。
So this paragraph started by saying one popular theory, and our next paragraph is starting with another possible explanation. So this is a way of linking two paragraphs with comparative or contrastive points. So we're doing one is true, and then another thing might also be true. And you don't even need to use the same noun following it. One theory, another explanation. So this is how you can organize your like a list inside paragraphs. So another possible explanation for flamingos standing on one leg is heat regulation. So heat regulation is keeping control of the temperature in your body. Everybody needs to be at a certain temperature. Too low is not good and too high is not good. So the one reason why the flamingos stand on one leg might be to control the temperature in their body to keep from being too cold.
好，所以我们刚刚看到了 one popular theory， 那现在要讲另外一个，所以这一段开头就是用 another， 然后呢，它避免使用 theory 重复这个字，它就用了 explanation， 好，所以它有另外一个可能的 explanation， 可能的解释，好，是什么呢？ heat regulation， 热量调节。
So even though these gorgeous birds, that meaning they're very beautiful, mostly live in tropical regions, they live in warm climates. Even though they live in warm climates, standing in water all day can still lead to significant heat loss. If you stand in water all day, your feet are going to get cold, and it's going to be hard to regulate your body temperature.
好，所以虽然这些 gorgeous 就是很美丽的这些鸟类呢，大多数都住在热带地区，但是整天站在水里面，还是有可能会导致 lead to significant， 就是很大量的显著的大量的 heat loss 热量流失。
So by reducing the number of feet in the water, reducing it by half, you only have 1 foot instead of 2, flamingos may be able to maintain a healthy body temperature. It might make it easier for them to stay at the right body heat.
好，所以呢， by 就是透过降低他们放在水里面的脚的数量，他们就可能 may be able to 可能可以维持一个 healthy body temperature 一个健康的体温。
Okay, now we have 4 questions for you. Number 1 is, how do flamingos get their bright pink feathers?
火烈鸟它的那个很明亮的鲜艳的粉红色羽毛是怎么来的呢？
The answer is D. They eat food with a lot of red pigment.
答案是 D， 它们食用含有大量红色素的食物。
Number 2, which of the following statements is true about flamingos?
下列关于火烈鸟的什么叙述是正确的？
The answer is C. They mainly live in areas with a warm and wet climate.
答案是 C， 它们主要生活在温暖潮湿的地区。
And number 3, which of the following theories is not mentioned as a reason flamingos stand on one leg?
下列哪个理论没有被提到作为火烈鸟单脚站立的原因？
The answer is D. It does not help them hunt for food.
答案是 D， 帮助他们觅食。文章里面没有提到这一点。
And number 4, Tony has to finish his science report on flamingos and swans. Which of the following choices can he write down in the blue block?
好，东尼必须完成他关于火烈鸟和天鹅的自然科学报告。他可以在蓝色区块中写下以下哪个选项呢？
So what do flamingos and swans have in common? The answer is B. They both use one leg to stand on.
答案是 B， 他们都用单脚站立。
Okay, that is all we have for you on pink flamingos, but join us again next time for more Ivy English. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.